Okay, we got it. Alright. You know, if you would have asked me 10 years ago, or in 2012, hey, you think we'll ever see Thanos fighting God knows how many people? Or God knows how many superheroes at a time? You think we'll ever see that? I would have laughed in your face. I would have been like, what? Thanos? What the hell is Thanos? We just saw Loki. One thing at a time. Flash forward about 7 years, and what we witnessed last night, nobody would have ever thought we would have saw. Avengers Endgame was everything we've ever wanted it to be, and more. This is gonna be completely spoiler filled. I'm sorry if you came here for a spoiler free review, but we have to talk about spoilers in this. This is gonna be completely spoiler filled. We're gonna talk about everything we can in an hour, because I don't know how to stream yet, but we're gonna get there. But this movie, by the way, we cannot recommend it. IMAX is the way. IMAX. To see this movie in IMAX, you have to see this movie in IMAX. If you do not see this movie in IMAX, you are hurting yourself. Now, I'm gonna stream Lego Avengers because I'm not gonna have you guys sit at a screen for an hour. So, I'm also here with Kevin because nobody else has seen the movie and we saw the movie last night. We're gonna talk about basically the core things in the beginning, because there are a lot of important things that happen in this movie. This movie was 3 hours long. We're gonna try to do it all. And then we're gonna talk about the amazing finale that everybody has heard about. We're gonna talk about it all. So let's start. First of all, Kevin, let your voice be heard. Stop being so silent.
Hello. I'd rather have you do the introduction first, but hello.
Okay. So we're gonna start off with the first, like, 5 minutes or so. The first 5 minutes, I hate it when Marvel does this. They start the movie without the logo, and it really throws me off because the movie started out of nowhere with just like, it just started out of nowhere. I was like, oh crap, this is the movie. So the movie started out with Hawkeye's family dying, and I honestly expected, I didn't expect it to open the movie, but I expected that to happen. That way it could give motivation to Ronin. It was a really cool, I don't want to say cool, but it was a moment that was really impactful, and it was just really well handled. And that's one thing that Marvel got right. Other than Infinity War, whenever they had to show somebody getting dusted, it works. It worked really well. And in this movie, it was no exception. There, Hawkeye was teaching his daughter, I'm assuming it's Kate Bishop, how to shoot, and she shoots perfectly. And then it's going perfectly fine, and then out of nowhere, they all get dusted. And then the movie starts with showing Iron Man and Nebula on the ship after Infinity War. They're on the Guardian's ship and they're in dire desperation, and then Captain Marvel saves them, and Captain Marvel shows up to their facility and you see everybody, and the dynamic between Tony and Cap from Civil War is still brought over. It's still brought over in the grandest way possible. They really handled that so well. And I love that they handled it well, because I wouldn't have been really upset if they just said, oh, well, you know, it's been a couple of years, let's just throw it in the past. No, Iron Man is still upset at Steve because he wasn't there. And basically in the beginning of this movie, they kill Thanos. Like, they kill Thanos. They, like, I'm not even kidding you guys. They kill Thanos. and they go to his farm, which, by the way, it was unintentionally funny to see, because they show Thanos like cooking and just doing everyday things, and it was absolutely hilarious. But I'm sorry, regardless, it was still hilarious. And they go to his farm and they kill him, and they're looking for the stones so that way they can reverse everything. And Thanos goes, "Oh, I destroyed the stones." Like, literally, he destroyed the stones. And he's like, "Oh, I used the stone to destroy the stones." And then they cut his hand off entirely. And then Thor doesn't believe him, but he's like, "You know what? I'm tired of this anyway." And he cuts his head clean off. And it came out of nowhere. It was just so awesome. I was like, holy crap. And then the movie almost made me leave, because the words 5 years, I thought it was going to say ago. And then it said later, because I don't like movies that show the ending and then they go back in time and show the beginning. I really don't like that at all. But thankfully that did not happen. So then it shows 5 years later, and then, you know, the world is basically post-apocalyptic, and, you know, they're struggling to survive. Well, not struggling to survive, there's just like no people. They're struggling to move on. That's what I'm trying to say. They're struggling to move on with themselves. And then Iron Man has a kid with Pepper. Pepper Potts survived the snap. Pepper and him had a kid, and that dynamic was handled really well. And also, like, basically, other than him, everyone else is just grieving. And what they did with the team was really nice. They had them basically, you know, go around the universe trying to fix it, basically. They had Captain Marvel, which sported a new haircut, which she looked like the comics, finally. Well, I don't want to say finally, because her suit does look like the comics, but, like, her haircut made her look a lot like the comics, which was really nice to see. And, her suit took me off guard. I didn't expect another new suit. She has 2 new suits in this movie, and it was really nice to see that. And Captain Marvel surprisingly disappears until the end of the movie, which was shocking to me. I didn't expect that. So then they come up with this idea. So then they show Ant-Man coming out of the quantum realm after Ant-Man and the Wasp, because, you know, he got stuck. And then Ant-Man comes out and he's like, this was the best idea, that he wants to use the physics of the quantum realm to time travel. And basically the next 20 minutes are them debating whether or not this could work. And then this is where the movie took me off guard entirely. They show the Hulk in a very unique manner. He's basically learned how to turn himself into the Hulk, but at the same time he's Bruce Banner at the same time. And it was absolutely hilarious. I love what they did with the Hulk in this movie, no doubt. Everybody was complaining, "Where's the Hulk? Where's the Hulk?" They gave you the Hulk. And it was absolutely hilarious, and it was so well handled. So then the Hulk says, "Oh, we can try it. Let's try it." So the other person that they had to get on board was Iron Man. But Iron Man is kind of against it because he's happy with his life. He has a kid. He has Pepper Potts. He has everything he's ever wanted. But they're like, "Oh, we have to get everybody back no matter what." So then eventually they come up with the plan to do time travel, and Iron Man figures out a way to do it. So then once that happens, Black Widow has to go find Hawkeye or Ronin, and Ronin is broken at this point. He's lost literally everything. to me, he's lost more than everybody else in terms of the snap, because that was his whole family. If you remember in Age of Ultron, he just wanted to be, he basically wanted to be Iron Man. He wanted to be with his family. He wanted to have a normal life. So that was taken away from him by Thanos. So he's gone on a mission to basically erase people from the world, because if his vendetta is that if he couldn't have anybody in his life, then the world can't have anybody. And I kind of what?
No, they did it. They did it. I don't know if it was in that specific way, but I remember him saying that he didn't like that he had his family taken away from him, but all these gang members and drug dealers kind of just still alive up and about.
Yeah, I get. Yeah. Yeah, it was something like that. I know it was something like that. So then Black Widow goes to get him, and she basically rescues him easily because, they were, close. They're like family. So then once that is done and everybody's there, they're testing it for the first time, the time travel, and it works. So then they say, "Oh, let's do it. We're gonna go do it." And then this is when they go get Thor. I did not expect what they did with Thor at all. They had Thor basically become a slob, and they had Thor basically, he was a bum. He was fat, he had long hair, and Korg shows up. Korg is alive and well. He was with Thor playing Fortnite. I'm not exaggerating. This is exactly what happens in the movie. And Rocket and Hulk, they have to go get him, and once they get him, they have to convince him that they basically, this whole first act is basically convincing everybody that this is a good idea and that it has to be done. And so once all of that is over with, they test the time travel nonsense. Everything works, and they say, "Oh, we have to go to a certain time and point to get the stones." So these were the points in time, if I can remember them. The Battle for New York in the first Avengers, the scene in Thor: The Dark World where Thor's mother dies, the scene where oh my god, I can't think. Star-Lord steals the Power Stone in Guardians of the Galaxy 1. They also had to go to New York to where Doctor Strange, the palace is, well, not palace, but the sanctum, that way they can steal the time stone from what's her name? The Ancient One, right?
Yeah.
They have to steal it from the Ancient One. And that was a nice little scene that they did with her basically not giving it up entirely, and she realizes that maybe she made a mistake giving it to Doctor Strange because he gave it up willingly in Infinity War. They also had to go to they went to the Battle of New York for Loki's scepter, because the Mind Stone, and they went to Battle of New York also for oh my god, the Tesseract, obviously. And they had to go to Volmir for
Avengers assistance.
The Soul Stone. That was it, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so basically how they split this up is they split the team up and they each went for the stone. Oh, okay, let's see if I remember this. Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, and Ant-Man went for the Tesseract and Loki's staff. Then Black Widow and Hawkeye went for the Soul Stone, which we're gonna get to that. War Machine and Nebula went for the Power Stone, which again we're gonna get to that. And Thor and Rocket went for the Reality Stone, which we'll get to. And I think Hulk just went for the Time Stone by himself. Yeah, that was it, right? Okay. So,
I guess we could talk about each of this one.
alright. So, we're gonna talk about the simple ones first. So, basically, so the reality stone was kind of nice the way they did that, because they had Thor go to Asgard where Frigga was still alive and Jane was there too, and it was also a kind of a thing where like he feels bad about his mom but also feels bad about Jane, which by the way I'm surprised that they got Natalie Portman back for this movie. I was shocked, but they got.
I think I heard that they patched things up, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. But she was in the movie for a brief scene, but basically Thor had to overcome his feelings of Thanos and all of this to realize what was for the greater good. So Rocket steals the ether from Jane, and then he gets Mjolnir back and brings it back to reality, which was probably the greatest thing ever, but you know, we'll get to that. So then for the time stone, Hulk actually goes to the Ancient One, and the Ancient One tells him about basically that, you know, the time stone affects everything, and you know, that she can't give it up. Basically what Doctor Strange said in Infinity War. And yeah, so eventually after like a long just stalling, she realized after Banner tells her that what Doctor Strange did, she goes, oh really? So then she just gives him the stone entirely. So then after that, for the Power Stone, they get it. Well, they actually get it rather easily. Nebula and War Machine, they just have to knock out Star-Lord, which was hilarious because they showed the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy again, but they showed it at a different viewpoint, and then he just looks like an idiot. So they get that rather easily, but then there's a twist that Nebula's conscience, and because she's a robot, her conscience is connected to the present day Nebula in that time. So the present day Nebula shows War Machine like on a video recording, and that's how Thanos finds out everything. So then Thanos throughout the whole movie is torturing Nebula, trying to figure out where all the stones are and everything. So then they get the stone rather easily. War Machine gets out, but Nebula gets captured by Gamora and, well, Gamora is evil at this time. Gamora and Thanos. So then with the scepter and the Tesseract, this is how it goes. They get the Tesseract rather easily because Iron Man had it, the present day Iron Man at that time, so Ant-Man just steals it, but then something goes wrong and Loki goes back. So Loki goes somewhere with the Tesseract. I don't know where he goes personally, I don't remember. I don't think they ever mentioned that.
They just showed him disappear and that was about it.
Yeah, I know. The scepter was one of the best scenes ever. So this is what happens. So I don't know if you guys remember the scene from Captain America: The Winter Soldier where they're in the elevator and he turns on Hydra. Well, he doesn't turn on Hydra. Cap figures it out. So then he does the same thing basically, only he knows that it was Hydra the whole time. So he goes, oh, give me the staff. And he's like, they were like, oh, we can't give you the scepter. And he's like, oh, it's okay. And then he says, Hail Hydra. And they're like, oh, it's okay, he knows. And it was one of the best things they could have ever done. And they just give him the scepter. and it was so awesome the way they handled that. And then we get a great scene where Captain America from the future meets Captain America from the present, and they have a skirmish, and then the present day Bucky, I'm playing freaking a level with Bucky, that's why I said that. The present day Cap tells the past Cap that Bucky's alive, and that's how he's able to defeat him. And then with the Tesseract, they Ant-Man was originally supposed to go and take it from Iron Man because he originally had it, but Iron Man, like, he made Iron Man basically have a mini heart attack, and then he dropped it, and then Loki grabbed it and went somewhere. So then basically what had happened was they screwed up. So then they had to give the scepter back to Shield, and then they they gave, oh my god, alright, I gotta stop playing. I cannot think. I'm sorry guys, I can't think. So, oh my god, okay, I gotta recollect. They realized that they had to go back further, and they were like, oh, it's a risk, you can't do this. So then Ant-Man was like, oh, if you don't come back, you like, if it doesn't work, you can't come back. So then Tony and Cap went back to the 70s, not particularly when Captain America was there, but it was kind of like after he quote unquote died. So he went and Stark went to go get the Tesseract, which was still there. What did Captain America do again?
He was supposed to grab some pin particles.
He did.
Steal it from
He did. He grabbed the pin particles, which, by the way, they showed Hank Pym if he was like younger, and there was a really cool Easter egg that the old OG Ant-Man helmet was there. That was a nice little Easter egg there. So then he grabs the what they need to go back, and Tony meets Howard Stark. And it's a really nice moment because Tony never had one of those moments with Howard, and it was kind of cool how he had to pretend that, he didn't know him, and also it was a coincidence that Howard was basically expecting Tony to be born at that time. So it was really nice. It was a really nice moment. So then Tony and Cap, they get back to Ant-Man. They got the stone. They get back. Hulk got the stone. War Machine went back with Nebula with the stone. No, he went back with Nebula.
Well, not the present day Nebula.
Yeah, we'll get there. Rocket and Thor went back, and okay, this is where one of the 3 tearjerker moments came throughout the movie. This is where I kind of knew what they were gonna do with this, and it worked excellently. Hawkeye and Black Widow go to Volmir to get the Soul Stone. And as soon as they both went, because we already know the rules, you have to sacrifice somebody you love to get the Soul Stone. I knew this was going to be heartbreaking because I knew one of them was going to die. And unfortunately, they had shown Hawkeye a lot, and I had a feeling they weren't going to kill Hawkeye. And I feel like we both knew Black Widow was going to die here. And it was just so emotional because scene started out with them knowing what had to happen, but then that twisted into kind of a competition as to who was going to die. And eventually Black Widow dies. And
they had a very emotional little best friend kind of fighting thing because they're both fighting over who is going to die for this whole song.
It was an absolutely beyond emotional scene to witness. You know, Black Widow, she's really come to her own as a great character ever since Winter Soldier. And, you know, it was so heartbreaking to watch her die. And, you know, it was rough. It was rough to really watch that. But, regardless, again, remember, Thanos found out through Nebula about the stones and that they were trying to stop it. So, they all get back and they ask where's Black Widow, and they're like, she didn't come make it. So then they reminisce, you know, they send her off in the right way. And then after that, they basically take the stones and they make a second Infinity Gauntlet with Iron Man's nanotech. And now they're debating, basically wanted to snap and reverse everything, which was, you know, logical. And then, so they basically discussed over who was gonna do it, and logically the Hulk did it because, basically the Hulk did it because, you know, he has gamma, and basically he said that most of it was, like, most of the energy would be gamma radiation. So he is the one that does it. He puts on the glove or the gauntlet, and he snaps. And everybody's like, what the hell happened? And the way they handled this was so beautiful. Ant-Man goes outside and he's like, oh, by the way, they showed Nebula, the past Nebula. She comes back to the future with them, and she messes with the time, basically the device that brings them in and out of time, and she brings Thanos' ship to the future. And when I saw this, I knew how big just envision Snoke's ship from The Last Jedi. Just envision that, but like a little bit wider. Just getting smaller and turning huge and just annihilating the Avengers compound. That is what happens. And as soon as this happened, I thought somebody was gonna die. I really did. So then they all think that it works, and so Ant-Man goes outside. And he sees that it's like really sunny, and he's like, oh my god, it worked. And then out of nowhere, Thanos' ship annihilates it just annihilates Thanos' oh my god, I cannot speak. Thanos' ship annihilates Avengers facility. Like, I mean annihilates it. They get absolutely destroyed. And it was one of the most amazing scenes. And then after that, Thanos goes with Nebula, and Nebula goes, oh, I'm gonna go find the stones. What are you gonna do? And Thanos simply says, I'm gonna wait. As soon as I heard that, I was like, oh my god, Thanos. Listen to me. Thanos is the best villain. I'm sorry. Nobody's gonna beat him. Maybe Heath Ledger's Joker. That's it. It's the only competition. So then after that, we get Iron Man, Cap, and Thor. And mind you, Thor still looks like a bum here. So they're all sitting there and they're like, oh, we don't know, like, what are we gonna do? He's here and we thought we undid everything. We don't know what to do. So then Cap or Iron Man simply goes, oh, we have to prevent him getting the stones because he doesn't have them right now, and let's keep it that way. And then Cap goes, oh, this could be a trap. And Thor goes, I know. And then, oh my god, he calls in Stormbreaker, and then he calls in Mjolnir at the same time because he took Mjolnir from Asgard from 2013, from that time period, and he just becomes like a god. He becomes a god. He's got this gold hair, his beard is just flushing, and he's got lightning all over him. I was like, oh my god. Well, we're just getting started. Then it's basically the Trinity, the MCU Trinity. I cannot speak, bro. This movie got me messed up. Thor, Cap, and Iron Man against Thanos. This was probably the top 3. All of the best moments from this movie are in the top 5 of the MCU. I'm sorry. This moment was absolutely nuts. They start fighting him, and it's like, oh my god, this is finally happening. And then this is... I swear to god, our theater erupted for this. So, Thor throws Mjolnir at Thanos, and he misses. And Mjolnir goes flying. And all he has is Stormbreaker, and he's fighting him with Stormbreaker. Thanos grabs Stormbreaker, and is trying to stab Thor with Stormbreaker. And then you see Mjolnir move. And it's not Thor. And you're like, wait. They've been teasing it forever. And it finally happened. The Mjolnir moves over, and it flies into Captain America's hands. Captain America finally became worthy. Or he was worthy, whatever. He grabs the hammer and smacks the holy hell out of Thanos. I just lost my mind because this was just everything anybody could have asked for. And he's summoning lightning. Captain America's summoning lightning from Mjolnir. It was like nothing we've ever seen. It was just so absolutely amazing. And then after that, you know, they're still fighting, and then Hawkeye finds the gauntlet, and he's like, oh crap. And then he used the Chitauri. Thanos brought the Chitauri with him, and they're all after him basically. And then he has to run. He blows it up. He blows up the little hole that he's in. They were at. So then, oh my god, Nebula finds him, the past Nebula, and she's like, oh, give him the gauntlet. So then the future Nebula is in the ship with Gamora, yes, the evil Gamora, and she goes, oh, let's stop Thanos. And she goes with Gamora and finds Hawkeye and the past Nebula, and they kill the past Nebula. And then they got the gauntlet. So then basically War Machine was trapped like under something, or was it Rocket? And they were basically stuck in there. Oh, excuse me, they were stuck in there for a while. So then after that, they're still fighting and everything, and this is where I almost lost it. Captain America's fighting Thor. I mean, not Thor, Iron Man. He knocks the hell out of Iron Man. He knocked the hell out of him. Like, he was gone. So then Thanos is fighting Captain America at this point. Thor and Iron Man are taken out entirely. This is when we all thought he was gonna die. Thanos is taking that beautiful sword that he has, and he's just bashing it across Captain America's shield, and it's breaking and breaking and breaking and breaking, and you're like, oh my, like, this is it, this is the final moment. And his shield is just like shattered in half. If you remember Age of Ultron, where Tony had the vision of Captain America's shield in half, just think of it like that. So basically what happens is Thanos goes, I'm gonna destroy this stupid world entirely. He says that. He's like, I'm gonna destroy this world entirely. And he brings out a whole army from the past of Chitauri, the children of Thanos, everyone. And it's just like, and they show this beautiful shot of Captain America face to face with this whole army. And you think, oh, Captain America's just gonna say something stupid. No, he takes that half portion of his shield, he straps it on and said, you know what, You know, it's not too many, you know? I've been fighting Thanos for 20 minutes. I can fight the rest of them. Nah, in all seriousness though, he straps it on in the Defiance, and then this is where I don't think I've ever screamed so loud in the theater in my life for this moment. It goes quiet. It goes kind of silent. You hear over Cap's radio. You hear some. I thought it was Bucky. I really thought it was Bucky. I know it was Falcon, but I thought it was Bucky. You hear him say, Cap, are you there? And you see Falcon flying. And then you see a Doctor Strange portal open, and Black Panther walks in with his mom and Shuri. And then you see basically, it is not an understatement to say everybody shows up. Spider-Man, everybody that was fallen and killed, everybody shows up. And then you see Pepper Potts in an Iron Man suit. She shows up. And it was just absolutely amazing. And then Doctor Strange has this army of wizards. They show up too. A Wakanda army. They show up too. It was basically a whole army of the MCU just coming together to fight Thanos. It was absolutely fantastic. It was one of the greatest moments of all time in a superhero movie. You will not get any better than this. So the music is going, and you know, the whole theater was clapping for like 5 straight minutes. You see Valkyrie with her horse. It looked absolutely fantastic. So then after that, this huge battle starts, and this is everything the MCU has been leading to. And so you have basically a whole bunch of stuff happening in this battle. You had, you know, you had Iron Man fighting, you had Ant-Man fighting, you had, you know, it was just, there's too much to recall. It was just absolutely amazing. So then there's a moment where all the women it was Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch steps up to Thanos because, you know, Scarlet Witch lost Vision, and she goes, "You took everything away from me." And this is when I laughed so hard. Thanos goes, "I don't even know who you are." I kind of wanted that. I kind of wanted him to say something like, "You know, all of you people are kicking my ass right now, but I don't even know who half of you are." Like, in all honesty, he doesn't. He only knows who like 6 of them are. But then or somebody says, "Oh, well, how the hell are you gonna beat Thanos on your own?" First of all, she could have beaten Thanos on his own. Okay, I don't want to hear that she couldn't have. But so then all of the MCU women, when I say all of them, I mean all of them. Gamora, Wasp, Okoye, Valkyrie, everybody gets behind Scarlet Witch and says, "You're not going to be alone." This is what I want in terms of women empowerment from the MCU. I don't want this nonsense from Captain Marvel that, "Oh, you have to do what you love." No, I hate this. I hate that. You know why? Because it's speaking with your words and not with your actions. This movie proved that we should have an all-female MCU movie, and it would be fantastic with the right talent. This moment was absolutely phenomenal. And I heard that there's a comic book called A-Force that has all the women in it. I didn't know about that. So that's pretty cool. I'm assuming if they do it, that's gonna be the movie. So then basically they start losing, you know, everybody's getting their ass kicked, and they start taking the gauntlet, and they start playing football with it. Basically, Black Panther had it first, or Hawkeye had it first. Then he gives it to Black Panther. Then he gives it to Spider-Man. And Spider-Man had an amazing moment, by the way. If you don't remember Spider-Man: Homecoming, the joke of what was it? Insta-kill, right? That's what it was called.
Yeah.
He had this thing in his suit that was like the Terminator of Spider-Man, and so he brings it back in this movie with the spider legs. He goes, Karen, activate insta-kill, and the spider legs just start annihilating everything around him. It was so awesome. So then after that, they start losing. They get the upper hand on them, and then Thanos says, activate, what does he say? Activate what?
He just said rain fire.
Yeah, rain fire. And basically what it was basically annihilation. His ship started shooting non-stop at the Avengers and everybody, no matter what. Even, I'm gonna call him Squidward, I don't remember his name. Squidward from Infinity War was like, oh, again, I don't, so if you knew that, whatever. That he was like, oh, that it's gonna kill our army. He goes, I don't care, I want those stones. So now it's kind of ironic that Thanos is the desperate one now. Thanos is the one that needs those stones more than ever, and I love the switch of roles. So then all of a sudden they start firing at something else, and you're like, what the hell is that? I didn't expect Captain Marvel. I expected something huge, but it was Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel comes in and annihilates Thanos' ship entirely. And then Captain Marvel comes on the battlefield and starts fighting with Thanos, and any rumor that you heard of her being like the saving grace, basically, of defeating Thanos is wrong. She was not the one that did this at all. She helped, but she was not the person you thought she was going to be in this movie. She was, she was somebody that was, helpful for them, definitely. And she was really cool in the final act. She held her own against Thanos, which I loved. And she did get her ass kicked though. She got hit really bad by Thanos. And basically what this became was a mission of Thanos getting the gauntlet. And so Captain Marvel had the gauntlet and Thanos took it from her. And then after that, Thanos got it again, and I forgot who went to reach for it again. I think it was Captain America. Captain America went to reach for it again, and then Thanos got it. And this was when I thought all hell was gonna break loose. Thanos snaps. Well, no, he doesn't snap. He goes to snap. He got it. He had the glove on him, and basically Captain Marvel was holding his fingers from snapping. And then he knocks him off again, and then Iron Man shows up, and you have to help me out here. I don't know what happened that the stones came out of the glove. What happened with that?
For me, I guess the armor kind of had its own built-in gauntlet, so it was able to take the stone. But when I know that the armor just took the stones from Thanos.
Okay, because I was really confused. I was like,
the glove and his armor were both like Iron Man tech, so it was pretty easy to transfer.
So it's kind of like nanotech.
Yeah, they kind of transfer. I don't know the specifics of it.
Regardless, Iron Man gets the stones and he gets the gauntlet and he puts it on, and it like he said the only thing he could have said. And he puts on the glove and he simply goes, and the movie goes quiet, he goes, I am Iron Man, and he snaps, and you watch the whole army just fade to dust, and Thanos is sitting there like, you all had one job, He's sitting there, and of course Thanos fades to dust. And then this is where the movie just broke me at this point. Iron Man is sitting there, and half his body is just burnt crisp. He was black. He was destroyed after that snap. Iron Man dies in this scene, and it was just, it was heartbreaking because everybody shows up. War Machine was there trying to, get him, better. Then Pepper Potts shows up. Everybody was just like, nobody expected this. I never expected this.
I really like how they showed true consequences of this, because Thanos and Hulk were able to survive it, but that's because they're probably the two strongest beings outside of Thor. But you see Iron Man as a human being, and he's just completely...
I know, and they actually showed that even with an Iron Man, so you can't survive something like that. Because they actually noted that, because when Hulk was snapping, that Iron Man put the suit on, and kind of showed that, you can't really avoid that. And this was just absolutely heartbreaking. It was really the end of an era, for Iron Man. It was absolutely just amazing the way they handled it. And so the next, 10 minutes, there was 15 minutes of the movie after this. Basically, the next, 10 minutes was them just reminiscing about Iron Man. They did a nice funeral for him. And then after that, this was a farewell to the MCU. This was, basically everything coming to one big finale. And so they sent Captain America to put the stones back, and Mjolnir. And basically how time travel works in this movie is you leave and you come back in 5 seconds, but all the required time still happens. So what happens is Captain America goes and he comes back, but he comes back as an old man. He lived his life. Now this is where I'm confused. I don't know what happened that he is old. It's either he didn't get frozen or he didn't get the super soldier serum. Nobody knows. I have to look it up, but regardless, it's so nice. He lived his life with Peggy, and he lived the life that he was supposed to have. And the last shot of this movie is, oh, by the way, he brings back his shield and he gives it to Falcon, the thing that we all have wanted. Falcon is now gonna become Captain America. And the last shot of this movie is showing Peggy and Cap in the 70s dancing to the Trouble Man soundtrack from Winter Soldier, if you didn't know. And that's how the movie ends. And at the end, they did a tribute to everybody in the MCU, and that was it. The final movie in this Infinity Saga came to an end. It was something that nobody had ever thought it would be this good. And, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You see, this theater experience, you can ask Heaven, this was the best theater experience of all time. We laughed, we cried, we cheered, we went nuts. And it was so worth it. The Russo brothers, have really changed Marvel. They started so simple with Captain America, made him the best character possible. And then in Winter Soldier, they split up the Avengers and took that storyline and did what they could with it. And it was awesome. Infinity War took another great storyline and changed the MCU entirely. And Endgame was just the perfect ending. You can't ask for a more perfect ending than this. If you sit here and complain that this wasn't a satisfying ending, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. And there are people out there that are saying that this movie was disappointing. I don't know in what world how this movie was disappointing. And people are saying, oh, that the movie was boring, there was no action. Bro, this movie had to set up the world. This world that Thanos created. You couldn't just have them go and say, oh, we're gonna go into time travel without them setting up anything. You had to have them do something. And so, to those that complain that there's no action, I don't know what you're talking about. You clearly didn't watch the last no, you didn't watch the last hour of this movie. This was just absolutely incredible. We have 10 minutes left on the stream, so if you want to say anything, you can.
I don't really have much to say, because I think you kind of summarized it very well. I don't know if I have anything else to say. I think Endgame is just probably one of the best movies in the MCU.
No, it is the best. For me, the top 5 now is... You know what's funny? The four Russo brothers movies are in my top 5.
Yeah, and I think yeah.
The only one that's not a Russo brothers movie is Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Because Guardians of the Galaxy 1 to me is better than Doctor Strange. But, this is how I would rank it. Endgame, Infinity War, Civil War, Winter Soldier, and the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's so crazy how the Russo brothers have changed the MCU. Without them, I don't know where the MCU would be right now. And that's a fact.
I think one of my only questions with the MCU moving forward, and I think you kind of told me about it, but about how Black Widow is gonna turn out. But one thing I think they could do, and I think this might be just a disappointment in terms of what they did before the movie. For me, I think that when Cap returned their Soul Stone, I guess in turn it kind of returned Black Widow. I don't think it did.
No. Well, it could have. But then again, if that was the case, then Vision would have came back too.
No, because Vision died with the Mind Stone.
I know, that's what I'm saying. If he would have returned the Mind Stone, then Vision would have still gotten created.
I don't know, but to me, I think this is... I don't know how they're gonna go with the Black Widow movie. They're probably just gonna have that movie in the past and maybe like tease another character coming to the MCU like that.
Yeah, I could see them doing something like that. I still want it though. I don't have a problem with the Black Widow movie happening. They also teased again A-Force. They teased,
Guardians 3 with Thor joining the gang.
Listen to me. If they do Guardians of the Galaxy 3 with Thor, I'm gonna love it so much. That is the perfect movie for them to do.
And I think many people wanted it. I really wanted it. Like Thor just having to join the Guardians.
I didn't even think of that. In all honesty, I really didn't.
I thought they would kind of do that, with especially when they might introduce Adam Warlock into Guardians 3. They might need.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting about Adam Warlock.
Yeah. But they said Spider-Man Far From Home is going to be the end of Phase 3, but I think that's just going to be the overall after effect of the world after everyone coming back.
I mean, there is no after effect. It's just, honestly, it's probably after effects on Peter, but not on, the world. The world is fine.
No, I meant like the world now returning to normal society when everyone else came back.
Yeah, I guess. I loved Peter's line, how he was like, oh, well, I kind of knocked out for 5 years, then I woke up and the wizard was there, he was making a hole. I was like, oh my god. You know, the Endgame was just everything we wanted it to be and more. You can't ask for a perfect movie. I gave this a 10 out of 10. It was just and I'm seeing it Sunday again. You know, you can't get better than this. I thank you, the Russo brothers, so much for what you've done for Marvel. You know, you can't get better than this. You know, this was just an event to behold. Yeah, that's gonna do it because we're running out of time. So, thank you guys so much. Let us know if you've seen Endgame, which you probably haven't, because you know it's opening day, and if you didn't get your tickets, you're not seeing it until God knows when. So, thank you guys, and we'll see you later on another one. Later.